Today, good morning, all of you. Today, we will be taking up the last topic pertaining to the gravity dams. We try to work out one or two problems for the stability analysis of the gravity dams. But before that, we look at the multiple step and single step method of design of the gravity dam. So, basic idea is whenever a dam is designed, it must be safe enough against all the forces which are acting on it. More particularly in the gravity dam, we need to verify various forces, including the earthquake force, which are to be resisted only by the self weight of the dam. So, the self weight of the dam must be such that it should be able to resist all the forces which are acting on the dam, irrespective whether the reservoir is full, irrespective whether the reservoir is empty, and in the instance of where there is earthquake occurrence, earthquake may occur when the reservoir is empty, even when the reservoir is full, in both the cases. So, we need to check the stability of the dam. So, multiple step method of design of a gravity dam followed by single step method we try to see. Multiple step method also is called the zonal method of design. So, for the academic design of a gravity dam, the section of the dam is divided into various zones. That's why it is called zonal method. It is called zonal method. Each zone is designed in such a way that all the requirements of stability are satisfied. If each of the zone of the gravity dam are satisfied with the stability requirement, naturally the entire dam section also will be satisfying the stability requirement. So, what are these zones? How it is divided into various zones? Let us see. So, if this is a typical section of a gravity dam having the downstream batter or slope and upstream batter, and you have a freeboard, also you have top road width, road carriageway. If everything is available, this is the typical section of a gravity dam. So, this is divided into several zones. The basic idea is that when we are designing this gravity dam in terms of zones, each zone must satisfy the stability requirements, which means that the resultant of all the forces must pass through within the middle third point. Then only the dam becomes safe or the zone becomes safe. So, we need to see at each of the zone whether the resultant of all those forces acting up to that point in that zone is passing through the middle third or not. If you see here in this figure, we have A1 is the top road width carriageway, and BB1 is another section which is considered horizontally, so that the zone 1 constitutes AA1, B1B. So, this is zone 1. Similarly, zone 2 in the figure, BB1, CC1. How to fix this zone? We will see in the coming discussion. So, particularly if you see here, zone 1 probably will be up to the freeboard, okay, and zone 2 where the downstream slope is starting. So, but in all these cases, the basic idea is the principle of stability is same. What is that? The line, the resultant must be passing through the middle third point only. Maybe it may be maximum to lower middle third or minimum up to the upper middle third when the reservoir is empty condition. Zone 1, this is the portion A1, B1B, which we have seen in the figure of the dam, situated above the MWL, maximum water level. So, it is controlled by freeboard requirements, and the width is determined by the practical consideration. We already seen what should be the freeboard height. The height of freeboard would be equal to the height of the zone 1, which would be equal to 1 by 4/3 to 1.5 times the height of the wave. So, height of wave will be calculated based on the fetch which is provided. There may be whether it is more than 32 kilometers or less than 32 kilometers. You have the formula for computing the height of the wave. Once height of wave is known, maximum of 1.5 times may be provided as the freeboard. So, zone 1 particularly is the freeboard. So, it is controlled by the freeboard requirement, and the width is determined by practical consideration. In case of ice, the height of zone 1 is determined on the consideration of sliding of the zone due to the ice pressure also. In Indian conditions anyway, we would not be considering the ice pressure. However, if ice pressure also is to be considered, apart from simple 1.5 times the height of the wave, it is not only the wave and other practical consideration, you need to take the ice pressure also at that point which is acting, and you should be safe against all these forces. So, zone 1, this is the zone 1 from the figure. Similarly, zone 2 is the portion of the dam with upstream and downstream vertical phases. So in the figure, you may observe that BC and B1C1 is a portion you have upstream as well as downstream vertical phase. So from C1, the downstream slope is starting. The downstream slope is starting. So B1, C1 is the zone 2. How do we design this zone 2? This is a portion of the dam with upstream and downstream vertical phases. The resultant passing through the downstream middle third point for the reservoir full condition and lies well within the middle third point of the reservoir empty condition. So we'll be looking at the portion BB1 to CC1 in the figure. So if that CC1, the base width, is divided into three parts. The central middle third point, if you see, when the reservoir full condition, for the reservoir empty condition, in both the cases, the middle third, through this middle third only the resultant of the forces must pass. So zone 2 is the vertical portion on both upstream side and downstream side. Then what is this zone 3? This zone 3 is from CC1 to D1. CC1 to DD. What is this D? D is the point where you have the start of this upstream batter also, upstream slope also. So the upstream phase continues to be vertical and the downstream phase is inclined. So the resultant passes through the upstream and downstream middle third points, as already we have been discussing in the figure. Zone 4 is the upstream phase also is given batter so that the resultant passes through the upstream and downstream middle third points. The position of the planes E1 is fixed from the criterion that the maximum inclined stresses at the toe is equal to the allowable limit for the reservoir full condition. So we know the allowable limit based on the material that is used, whether it is masonry or concrete. So the maximum inclined stress which we are getting at the toe should be our maximum, should be less or maximum equal to the allowable stress for the reservoir full condition. This zone is to be fixed by trial and error. Load arms lie within the limits of this zone. Zone 5, the downstream slope is flattered so that the maximum inclined stress for the reservoir full condition lies within the safe limit. The resultant must lie within the downstream middle third point for the reservoir full and passes through the downstream middle third point for the reservoir empty condition. So the level of FF1 in the figure is fixed so that the maximum inclined stress at the heel to be equal to the permissible value. Zone 6 is the resultant lies within the middle third point for both the cases. The position of GG1 is fixed so that the maximum inclined stress at the toe reaches the maximum permissible value. Zone 7 is to be avoided, maximum to the extent possible should be avoided by suitably changing the entire design so that the height of the dam lies within the 6 zones. In this zone, it is not possible to control the stress at the toe. If the zone 7 is unavoidable, superior material is used, like for concrete, a better mix of concrete may be used, or height reduced to accommodate the height within the 6th zone. So this is the simple zonal method. What we try to understand is that for each of the zone, try to find what are the forces that are acting for the reservoir full, reservoir empty condition, and identify the resultant and get the value of x bar. X bar is the point of application of the resultant force. Also find the eccentricity value, and you see that whether the resultant is passing through the middle third, outer middle third point, within the outer middle third during the reservoir full condition, and within the upper point of the middle third during the reservoir empty condition. If these both the conditions are satisfied, the zone that we have considered is safe. Otherwise, what you need to do? You need to go for a trial and error procedure to fix the height of the zone, maybe less or more. Or another way is to increase the base width. So one more method is the single step method. So in the design of the high dam, when the profile is found impracticable in zone 7, the remedy consists in redesigning the whole dam as a single dam controlled by the rules of zone 6. So instead of considering zone 7 and failing in that, better to go for a single step method, taking the principles which are employed in zone 6. So this figure shows the profile by the single step method. In this method, the upstream slope is kept vertical for some depth to be determined by the trial and error. After this, both the faces are given such slopes that the maximum inclined stress at the toe and heel reach the maximum permissible values simultaneously. So in the reservoir full, reservoir empty condition, so the stresses that are developed there should be up to the allowable values, permissible values. This is to be obtained by the trial and error. This section satisfies all the design criteria, and hence this is usually acceptable. So dams of lesser heights can be designed economically only by multiple step methods up to zone 4. This is because in the single step method, the section is under stress, under stress at all points except at the base. So in the case of high dams, though the material is under stress in zone 2 and zone 3, the added weight in the region contributes to the suitably in the lower reaches of the dam. Hence, single step method need not always be an economical section. It may be safe, but it may not be economical. You can see here, in a multiple step method, we have seen several zones, maximum up to the zone 6, as indicated in zone 7. The base width will be abnormally increased, and hence try to possible to the extent possible avoid the zone 7. So there are two aspects. One is stability of the dam is one aspect, and you are taking up a single step method or a multiple step method. Stability of the dam is one important aspect. At the same time, you should be able to utilize the concrete or the material used economically. Just to have a safe dam, you can't increase the base width abnormally. It becomes uneconomical. So what you need to do is, at every zonal section, at every point when you are designing, see that the resultant must be passing through the middle third point for the reservoir full condition, downstream middle third point for the reservoir full condition, which means that you are reaching the optimal value in terms of utilizing the material. Then the dam becomes not only safe but also economical. So at different stages, what are the various forces that are coming up, you need to verify. And for that particular zone, what is the point of application of the resultant, you need to verify. And you need to check whether that zone, that section is safe or not. So in a single step method, what we try to do is that applying the principles of the zone 6, we simply take up the entire section as a single unit. So just take, so what are the various loads which are coming, what are the various forces which are creating overturning, what are the forces which are causing stability, whether upslip needs to be considered, what is the applied force. So estimate all these forces, and identify the location of the resultant. If it is passing exactly through the downstream portion of the middle third, naturally the dam is not only stable but also economical. This is what we need to